In every open world RPG, there's a main currency, gold, gil, is rupees, whatever you want to call it. And from the moment you start, the game teaches you that you need more of it. You need gold to buy better gear, to repair your armor, to buy health potions, to get a house. The entire game economy is designed to make you feel like you're constantly just a little bit short. There's always a better sword you can't quite afford, a bigger house just out of reach. So we grind. We take on every side quest. We sell every piece of junk loot, all to watch that number in the top corner of the screen go up. And it leads to one of the biggest questions in the game of life. How much gold do you actually need to be happy? The world, the game's meta, will tell you the answer is always more. It's a game with no level cap on wealth. You get the nice flat, but now there's a house with a garden. You get the nice car, but now there's a faster one. It's an endless gear treadmill, a quest log that never ever ends. But what if we've been asking the wrong question? The question isn't, how much do I need? The question is, what kind of player am I? Think about it. There are generally two types of players. First, you have the completionist, the one who needs to have everything. The best in slot gear for every situation, every rare mount, the biggest player-owned castle. Their joy comes from acquisition, from having the best stats, from being at the top of the leaderboard. For this player, there will never be enough gold. The moment a new expansion drops, their gear becomes obsolete, and the grind begins all over again. They are ambitious, and they are playing a game that is designed to never let them win. Then you have the explorer, the player who is in it for the story. They don't care about having the absolute best gear. They just need gear that's good enough to see them through the next adventure. They're not trying to beat the game, they're trying to experience it. Their joy comes from watching the sunset over a new landscape, from laughing with their friends on a quest, from uncovering the lore of the world. For the explorer, the answer to how much gold do you need is simple. Just enough. Enough for repairs, enough for potions, enough to be comfortable on the journey. They live below their means within the game, and because of that, they are free. They are not tied to the endless grind. Now, which player do you think is actually happier? This is the exact choice we face in real life. Money is just our world's version of gold, and material things are just gear. That new phone is just a +1 buff to your stats that will be outdated in a year. If you choose to be a completionist in life, you will always need more money. You are signing up for an endless grind, chasing a feeling that will always be temporary. But if you choose to be an explorer, you can define your own win condition. You realize that the goal isn't to have the most stuff. The goal is to have the best experience. You understand that true wealth isn't about what you own. It's about how little you need to be content. So, how much money do you need to be happy? The answer is deeply personal. It comes from looking away from the gear and looking at your own quest log. What is the story you actually want to live? Once you know that, you'll know exactly how much gold you need to make it happen. In every game, there's that one achievement, that one rare item, that mount that has a 0.1% drop rate. And we tell ourselves a story. We say, when I get that, then I'll be happy. So we grind for it. We spend hours, days, even weeks, running the same dungeon, fighting the same boss. Our eyes glaze over. We're not even having fun anymore. We're just chasing the goal. And then, one day, it happens. The item drops, the achievement pops, a wave of euphoria washes over you. It feels amazing. For a moment. But then, what happens next? The feeling fades, and before you know it, you've already opened up your quest log and picked a new item to chase. The cycle begins again, this endless grind for the next big thing. It's not just a game loop, it's the way most of us are taught to play the game of life. We treat happiness like it's the ultimate legendary item. We think we'll find it when we get the promotion, when we buy the house, when we find the perfect partner. We're constantly chasing a destination, but we never seem to arrive. Why? Because we've misunderstood the game mechanics. Happiness isn't a rare item you can acquire. It's not an achievement you unlock. Happiness is a passive skill. Think about it. In a game, an active skill is something you use once in a while. It's a big, flashy explosion that's powerful, but has a long cooldown. That's the feeling of getting a promotion. It's a temporary buff. But a passive skill is different. It's something like +1 health regeneration per second or increased stamina. It's not flashy. You barely even notice it's there. But it's running constantly in the background, making your entire gameplay experience smoother, better, and more resilient. That's what true happiness is. It's not the giant, explosive moments of joy. It's the quiet, constant background hum of contentment. So if it's a skill, how do you level it up? Well, you don't level it up by grinding for more loot. You level it up by changing your playstyle. First, you have to stop looking at what's in other players' inventory. We scroll through social media, which is basically just a highlight reel of everyone else's legendary drops. It makes us feel like our own gear is trash. But as we've discussed, you're only seeing their default skin, their public avatar. You're not seeing the hours of grinding, the failed attempts, the moments they wanted to quit. Comparison is a self-inflicted debuff. It's a poison that drains your own happiness bar. Second, you have to learn to appreciate the common tier loot. We are so obsessed with getting the best, the rarest, the most epic, that we forget that 99% of the game is played with simple, effective, common gear. Happiness is learning to be grateful for the roof over your head, the taste of a good cup of tea, the comfort of a friend. It's about lowering the difficulty setting for what it takes to make you feel good. And finally, it's about enjoying the game itself. It's about stopping to appreciate the art style, the music, the world design. It's about finding joy in the process of a quest, not just the reward at the end. The ultimate goal isn't to fill your inventory with legendary items. The goal is to design a gameplay experience that you genuinely love to play every single day. When you're creating a character in a deep RPG, you eventually get to a choice that goes beyond your stats or your class. You have to choose your alignment, or maybe a patron deity. Do you follow the god of light, the goddess of chaos, or do you choose to be an atheist, rejecting all of it? This choice doesn't usually give you a new sword or a stronger shield. It does something much deeper. It changes your dialogue options. It unlocks different quests. It changes how the world reacts to you. It defines the story your character is going to live. This is one of the closest things in gaming to what we grapple with in our own lives, spirituality. And spirituality at its core is simply about what you choose to believe. It's the code you choose to run your life by. Often we get it confused with religion. In our gaming analogy, religion is like a preset character class, a cleric or a paladin. It comes with a complete set of skills, a backstory, and a fixed path to follow. It's a build guide that has worked for millions of players, and for many that provides a wonderful sense of structure and community. But spirituality is different. Spirituality is customizing your own class. It's picking and choosing your own skills, your own moral code, your own personal deity or higher power, even if that higher power is just the universe itself or the goodness within people. You're not following a guide, you're writing your own. And the most important stat in this custom build, belief. Belief is the most powerful force in the world. It's the engine that runs everything. We've talked about the placebo effect, how believing a sugar pill can heal you actually causes your body to heal itself. That's just a tiny glimpse of this power. Your belief system is the operating system for your reality. And this is why what you choose to believe is the most important decision you will ever make. Because believing the wrong thing can be the most powerful debuff you can cast on yourself. What's a wrong belief? It's any belief that makes your world smaller, that makes you weaker. The belief that you're not smart enough, that you're unlucky, that people are fundamentally bad, that you're not worthy of love. When you run this code, your character's stats are permanently lowered. You'll see fewer opportunities. Your dialogue options with new people will be more defensive. The game of life becomes harder, and you're the one setting the difficulty to nightmare mode. But the right belief, that's a permanent buff. It's the belief that you can learn and grow, that challenges are just side quests for leveling up, that people are doing their best, that you have value just by being you. When you install this code, your stats start to rise. Your perception skill increases, letting you spot opportunities you missed before. Your charisma goes up, improving your interactions. Your world map expands, revealing new areas to explore. Spirituality isn't about finding some ancient, secret text that tells you the one true answer. It's about being the conscious designer of your own belief system. It's about looking at the dozens of beliefs you run on autopilot every day and asking, is this a buff or a debuff? Is this belief making my game better or worse? It's the ultimate main quest. To build a belief system that doesn't just help you win the game, but makes it a beautiful story worth playing. In every fighting game, there's that moment. You're facing your opponent. The announcer shouts, "Fight!" The health bars appear at the top of the screen, and your only goal is to get their bar to zero before they get yours. It's a zero-sum game, a duel. For you to win, they have to lose. And for most of us, that's exactly how we treat conflict in real life. The moment a disagreement starts, our brain loads up the fighting game software. The health bars appear. It's me versus you, and I'm going to win. Our primal programming kicks in. It's our character's default setting. We see the other person not as a friend or a partner, but as an opponent. And our ego. Our ego becomes the final boss, demanding victory at all costs. We use our sharpest combo attacks, criticism, sarcasm, raising our voice, all to win the match. But what if conflict isn't a fighting game? What if it's actually a co-op puzzle? Think about it. In a puzzle game, two players aren't trying to defeat each other. They're on the same team, with a shared objective to solve the puzzle. The enemy isn't the other player. The enemy is the misunderstanding. The problem itself is the puzzle that needs to be solved together. When you reframe it like that, the entire strategy changes. You're not looking for a way to win, you're looking for a way for you both to win. So, how do we switch from a PvP duel to a co-op puzzle? It requires a few high-level skills. First, you need to unlock the skill, Observer mode. This is the ability to mentally hit pause and switch from a first-person to a third-person camera angle. In first person, you're just your character, filled with emotion and a desire to win. But in third person, you can see the whole scene. You can see your character, their character, and the puzzle sitting between you. This little bit of distance is a superpower. It stops you from just reacting on instinct. Next, you need to equip the empathy headset. You have to genuinely try to understand the other player's objective. What quest are they on? What's their motivation? You don't have to agree with their strategy, but you need to understand it. Once you know what they're trying to achieve, you can start looking for a shared goal. Then comes the most important combat tactic. Focus target on the problem, not the player. Stop attacking the other person's character build. In a fight, we say things like, "You're so lazy," or "You never listen." That's a direct attack on their health bar. In co-op mode, you target the puzzle. You say, "When this situation happens, it makes me feel this way. How can we solve this puzzle together?" See the difference. One creates an opponent, the other creates a teammate. And finally, you always search for the win-win loot drop. A duel ends with one winner and one loser. A bad compromise ends with two losers. A successful co-op puzzle ends with a special loot drop where everyone gets something good. It's about
finding a creative third option that makes both players feel like they've leveled up. Conflict is never easy, but it doesn't have to be a game over screen for your relationships. It can be the ultimate co op mission, a chance to get stronger together. It just depends on which game you think you're playing. In a lot of games, the main goal is to level up your intelligence stat. You read every book, you solve every puzzle, all to make that number go as high as possible. Intelligence is seen as the ultimate buff, the cheat code to winning the game. But what if it's not? What if maxing out your intelligence stat comes with some unexpected debuffs? What if sometimes being intelligent kind of sucks? Have you ever been in a conversation and you can see exactly where it's going about 5 steps ahead of everyone else? You see the flaws in their logic, the point they're missing, but you know that if you jump in and say it, you'll just sound like an arrogant git. So you just sit there, nodding along, feeling this profound sense of exhaustion. That's the first debuff, chronic exhaustion. It comes from constantly running a high-powered graphics card in a world designed for a standard one. You're processing everything at a higher resolution. You see the subtext, the hidden motives, the long-term consequences that most people miss. It's a bit like having the game's fog of war completely lifted. While everyone else is just worried about the enemy in front of them, you can see every potential threat on the entire map. It's not a relaxing way to play. And this leads to the most frustrating game mechanic of all, the Dunning-Kruger effect. In gaming terms, it's when a level 5 player who has just figured out how to use their basic attack confidently tries to explain boss mechanics to a level 100 player. They are so unaware of the game's complexity that they genuinely believe their simple strategy is genius. And as the level 100 player, you're just stuck. You can try to explain the intricate dance of attack patterns, status effects, and damage phases, but they don't even have the vocabulary to understand you. To them, you're the one who's overcomplicating things, and that feeling, that powerlessness in the face of confident incompetence, it's one of the most draining experiences in the game of life. But here's the paradox. The higher your intelligence stat goes, the less intelligent you often feel. A low level player thinks they know everything because their world map is tiny. All they can see is the starting village. But as you level up, the map expands. You start to see the vast, unexplored continents, the deep oceans, the dungeons you haven't even touched. You become acutely aware of how much you don't know. It's a humbling and sometimes crushing feeling. So what's the upside? Is there a point to having this stat? Yes, it's the moment you meet another player who has also lifted the fog of war. It's an incredible feeling. You don't have to explain the basic mechanics. They already get it. You can talk in shorthand. You can jump straight to the high-level strategy. You can truly appreciate the elegance of their build, the cleverness of their tactics, because you understand the depth of the game they're playing. It takes a high-level player to truly recognize another. That's the hidden quest for the intelligent. It's not to try and convince the level 5s that you know what you're talking about. It's to find your own high-level guild, to find the people who can see the whole map with you. Because the burden of seeing everything is heavy, but it's a lot lighter when you have someone to share the view with. In almost every RPG, there's a skill tree for speech. You can put points into persuasion, intimidation, or deception. With a high enough skill, you can change the entire story. You can convince a guard to let you pass, talk a villain out of their evil plan, or trick a merchant into giving you a massive discount. Your words become your most powerful weapon or your most useful tool. You're not changing the world with a sword, you're changing it with a sentence. This isn't just a game mechanic, it's a reflection of one of the most powerful and subtle forces in our own reality: manipulation. Now, that word, manipulation, It lands with a thud, doesn't it? It feels dark, slimy, and negative. We picture a shadowy villain pulling strings from behind a curtain, and sometimes that's exactly what it is. But at its core, manipulation is just the art of influence. It's the skill of arranging your words and actions to guide someone towards a certain outcome. And like any skill, it can be used for good or for evil. It's a tool, and the morality of it depends entirely on the person holding it. In the right hands, this skill is the source of all inspiration. Think about your favorite anime protagonist, the one who gives that one epic speech in the middle of a losing battle, the one whose words reignite the hope in his friends and gives them the strength to win. That's manipulation for good. It's using a deep understanding of people's hopes and fears to motivate them, to help them become better versions of themselves. It's the paragon path, but in the wrong hands. It's a debuff you don't even see being cast on you. The most dangerous manipulation isn't loud or obvious. It's quiet. It's subtle. It's a friend who frames their request in a way that makes you feel guilty if you say no. It's an advertisement that taps into your deepest insecurities to make you buy something you don't need. It's a leader who twists a story just enough to make you feel angry at the wrong people. It works because it bypasses your logic and speaks directly to your emotions. It finds your emotional source code, your desire for belonging, your fear of missing out, your need to feel important, and it exploits it. So, if this force is so powerful and so subtle, how do you defend against it? How do you increase your mental resistance stat? It's not about becoming cynical or distrusting everyone. The answer, as it often is, comes from looking inward. The real defense against negative manipulation is deep self awareness. It's about knowing your own character sheet inside and out. What are your core values? What do you truly want out of life? What are your insecurities? When you have a strong sense of your own identity and your own goals, it's much harder for someone to send you on a side quest that doesn't serve you. You can spot when a dialogue option feels off. You can sense when a choice is leading you away from your own main story. Understanding manipulation isn't just about protecting yourself, it's about understanding your own power. We all have this skill, whether we realize it or not. No? In our friendships, in our families, at work, we are all constantly influencing each other. The real challenge is to be conscious of it, to use our words not to control, but to connect, not to not to trick, but to inspire, to make sure that when we influence the people in our lives, we're helping them level up too. Key, have you ever played an RPG where you get a new piece of gear? It's a cool looking helmet or a shiny amulet. You equip it and you check your stats. It gives you +1 to strength, or maybe +5 to your fire resistance. But then there are other items. You find a lucky charm. You look at its stats and it says nothing. No stat boosts, no special abilities. The description just says a trinket that might bring you good fortune. Logically, it's useless, but you equip it anyway. And a funny thing happens. Suddenly, you feel more confident. You start landing more critical hits. You're dodging attacks more easily. The charm isn't actually doing anything, but because you believe it is, your entire gameplay changes. You start playing better. This isn't just a mechanic in a game. This is one of the most powerful, mysterious, and fascinating forces in our own lives. It's called the placebo effect. We usually hear about it in a medical context. A doctor gives one group of patients a real pill and another group a sugar pill, a placebo. That does nothing. But a surprising number of people who take the sugar pill report that their symptoms get better. Their pain lessens, their mood improves, their body starts to heal itself, not because of what was in the pill, but because of their belief in the pill. It sounds like magic, doesn't it? But it's not. It's a powerful demonstration of how deeply connected our minds and our bodies truly are. Your mind is the most powerful piece of hardware you own. Your thoughts, your beliefs, your expectations, they aren't just idle daydreams. They are powerful commands that can write and rewrite the code of your own physical experience. When you truly believe something is going to help you, your brain starts to act as if it already is. It can release its own natural painkillers like endorphins. It can reduce stress hormones. It can change your perception of pain and discomfort. Your brain becomes its own internal pharmacy. So, why is this so powerful? Because it reveals a fundamental truth about our reality. Our experience of the world isn't just about what's happening on the outside, it's about the story we tell ourselves on the inside. The story is the operating system. The story runs the whole show. If you believe a situation is hopeless, your brain will actively look for evidence to prove that story right. You'll feel more tired, more defeated. But if you believe you have a lucky charm, if you believe there is a chance, a possibility of success, your brain goes into a different mode. It starts looking for opportunities. It sharpens your focus. You stand up a little straighter. This goes way beyond just sugar pills. The placebo effect is happening all around us all the time. It's why a cool looking outfit can make you feel more confident. It's why a pre-game ritual can help an athlete perform better. It's why the same cup of tea can taste better when you drink it from your favorite mug. The object itself has no power. The power comes from the meaning and the belief you pour into it. This isn't about tricking yourself, yet it's about understanding that you are the main character, the narrator, and the programmer of your own experience. The stories you choose to believe have a real, tangible effect on your reality. So the question is, what story are you choosing to tell yourself today? When you start a new RPG, the first thing you do is choose your class. Are you going to be the warrior with high base strength and HP, or the mage with high base intelligence and mana? These classes come with a preset stat distribution, a blueprint. For thousands of years, the game of human survival had two primary starter classes, man and woman. And for the game to be successful, for the party to survive, these classes had very specific roles based on their default stats. This isn't a social theory, it's just the game's original meta. The male build, biologically, had higher base stats in strength and aggression. The optimal strategy was to spec into the protector/provider role, the tank, and the DPS of the tribe. The female build had its own powerful, unique stats, spec'd into nurturing, endurance, and social cohesion. The healer and the support class, essential for managing the party's resources and raising the next generation of players. This balance was the most effective strategy for winning the game of survival, but like any long-running online game, our world has had a massive expansion pack. The Modern Society Update. The old survival meta is no longer the only way to play. A player with the female build can now grind and spec into the tank role of a CEO, and a player with the male build can spec into the healer role of a stay-at-home dad. The potential for any player to achieve any goal is there. You can absolutely build against your base stats. It might just require more conscious effort and dedication. But here's where it gets interesting. Even with all the new updates, the game's original source code, that primal biological programming, is still running in the background. And nowhere is that more obvious than in the co-op mode. Relationships. In relationships, those default attraction mechanics are still incredibly powerful. Generally, a male player is looking for a co-op partner with specific attributes: high aesthetics, stats, beauty, high loyalty, stats, and a receptive, feminine energy, a partner who complements his drive and creates a harmonious team. And the female player, her primal code is scanning for a partner with a high level account. She's looking for a good faction ranking, status, a healthy amount of in-game currency, resources, and a sense of security, someone whose presence, whether through physical strength or sheer competence, makes her feel safe in the party. This is why you often see a pattern that the game designers call hypergamy. Female players tend to look for a partner at their level or higher. They want to join a raid party that has a high chance of success. Male players, on the other hand, can successfully team up with players of various levels as long as their core requirements for beauty and loyalty are met. Now, you can call this outdated. You can say it's not fair, but it's like arguing with the game's physics engine. It's just the default setting. The most successful long term co op teams, the ones that clear the hardest content, almost always have a synergy buff. This buff comes from a balance of masculine and feminine energy. You don't want two identical tanks trying to run a dungeon. You want a tank and a healer, a directive. Protective energy paired with a receptive, nurturing one. These energies aren't about being dominant or submissive. They are about creating a complementary flow that makes the team stronger than the sum of its parts. It's a powerful synergy that gives your party the best chance of surviving and thriving through the long and difficult but beautiful game of life. When you first log into a new game, what's the first thing you do? You join a party, you join a massive guild. The starting zone is always packed. Everyone is on the same low-level quests, fighting the same slime monsters. And it's easy to build a friends list with 50, 100, even 200 people. Your social bar is maxed out. You're all moving together in a massive, chaotic, and exciting wave. This is what life is like when we're young. School, university, they're the starting zones. We're all on the same main story quest, so of course our party is huge. But a game that never changes gets boring. And life, like any good game, is constantly releasing new expansion packs. The career expansion drops. Some of your friends log in every day to grind for the next promotion. The serious relationship expansion comes out, and some friends start spending all their time on co-op quests with their partner. Then there's the moving to a new city expansion, which literally puts your friends on a different server. And slowly, without any big drama or a single you've been kicked from the guild message, your party starts to shrink. Your friends list gets smaller, and a little voice in our head starts to worry. Did I do something wrong? Am I a bad player? Number. You just kept playing the game. The thing is, not everyone levels up at the same speed. Some players want to rush to the endgame content, while others want to explore every side quest and read every piece of lore. You don't grow apart because you stopped liking each other. You grow apart because you chose different quest lines. Your character builds start to diverge. You're still in the same game, but you're adventuring in different parts of the map. And that is completely 100%, okay? Because the goal of the game isn't to have the longest friends list. It's to build a legendary raid party. Think about it. Who would you rather take on the final boss with? A Zerg of 100 low-level randoms who don't know your playstyle? Or a tight-knit 5-person team that has perfect synergy? The team that knows your strengths, covers your weaknesses, and will stick with you through a dozen wipes until you finally win. Those are the friends you have left as you get older. They are your core guild. The quality of those connections is infinitely more powerful than the quantity of your starting zone acquaintances. These are the players who will fly across the world map just to help you with a tough quest. So if you look at your friends list and see that it's smaller than it was 5 or 10 years ago, don't see it as a loss. See it as a sign of progress. It means you've moved beyond the tutorial island. You've specialized. You've found your true class, your real playstyle. And you've kept the party members who are in it for the whole epic campaign.